We are going live on a couple sites, so bear with us. But thank you so much, everyone, for joining us today. I'm Mary Thomas, Thomas Real Estate Group with Remax Professionals, and I have a very special guest today, Jason Thomas.
Jason Thomas, happy to see you all.
So we are getting real with real estate today. So we wanted to talk a little bit about Jason's journey.
Absolutely. You know, I like to keep it real.
So what we have today is oh, hold on, I didn't get us there on a couple other ones.
This meeting is being recorded.
Oh, there we go. Again, Jason Thomas is here to talk about real estate and his journey in real estate, and he's going to be real with us today. So I'm super excited. Thank you for doing this. And let's start at the very beginning. What does home ownership mean to you, Jason?
To me, it very much means security and a little bit of control over your destiny. You can just have a solid foundation you can count on.
So you have a little bit of say in your future regarding where you live and sleep.
Yep.
A little bit.
That's
of
something.
say, a little bit.
Yes.
So have you always, in your family line, have you always had home ownership, or did you come into it when you were younger? How did this go about for you?
Yes, we as I grew up, we always had our home that we owned.
Mhm.
And when I was 18 years old, I had an opportunity to get into home ownership when I was barely 18, via a assumable loan with no qualifications. If I could make the payment, I could keep it.
So at 18 years old was your first house because you were able to assume that loan.
That's right. That's what I did.
And you said you barely could keep it.
Absolutely. I was barely 18. My income was low, and the payment seemed large at the time. The debt to income didn't exactly line up with where I'd like it to be.
Sure. From there, what was your journey? You owned that home for how long?
That was approximately 5 years, 4 to 5 years.
Okay.
Mhm.
And what did that do for you for your next step? Because I know things changed for you at that time.
Right, absolutely. I was working in a different town and commuting, and that gave me the credit and the financial leverage to um, build my own house, which was the next step I made there.
Hmm.
Yes.
So I want to just go a little bit deeper on that. So
Sure.
you
That's,
drew your plans,
that's right.
then you went and hired
General contractor.
and they made the blueprints and then started, and Jason was overseeing, I'm sure, every day.
That's what I do.
And it was a beautiful home because once that home was finished, how shortly after did you meet me when that?
um, about 4 years, 3 years.
After you built that?
Yes,
So 4 years later, his life got a lot brighter.
it did. It
And you
did.
met me, and we got married, and we moved into that home that your first build,
That's right.
first build, which without the first home, do you think that that would have been possible?
No, I do not.
So having that first home that you could barely hang on to, did you live there by yourself or?
No, so like I said, it was unaffordable for me. So I I had that opportunity. I was going to jump on it regardless. I did, and I was able to afford it through having a roommate.
Mhm.
Which, as you know, I like my privacy. That wasn't
The
my
best fun
ideal
time.
situation, but I made it work, and so glad I did.
Yep.
I learned a lot from that process.
So your first home enabled you to build a home, and then you got to live in that home for 4 years. You met me,
That's right.
and we got married. And this is where it gets a little bit fun. Life changes yet again. So we had that home. Um, do we want to go in a little bit of like how that helps you the first home, what you bought it for, what you're able to sell it for, what you built this one for, and then we were going to sell that one?
Um, sure. Where would you like to begin?
So what was your first home's purchase price?
Right about 140,000.
And you used that equity to start your other build? Or how did that happen?
Um, it it allowed me to qualify for a building loan.
Okay.
By then, I had upped my income. As you know, I worked nonstop at that time,
Mhm.
and but that allowed me. It built my credit, and it allowed me to make that step to get the building loan
Okay.
for the next house.
So you bought it for
40,
140 and you sold it
140.
for 140.
Yep, it wasn't exactly a profit, but um, I lived there 4 years
Mhm.
or so, and yep, got out with everything I put into it.
And then so the home that you built, you finished that home for how much?
Right about 180,000.
And then life changed and we needed to move again.
Right.
And we sold that for, oh, wait, in the middle of this, reverse everyone. This
Yep.
is, I almost forgot the funnest part.
Yes.
Here's the journey. So after we got married, about a year into our marriage,
Yes,
you bought a piece of land.
I did.
Tell me a little bit about this because I almost skipped over the funnest part.
Sure. It was a piece of bare land down a dirt road. It was what was it? 120, 140 acres of just a large piece of desert.
Mhm.
And the the people I actually bought it from kind of made fun of me. Thought, asked me, what are you going to do with that? You're going to be a dirt farmer? What are you going to do? But I had cobbled together a good down payment, and they financed me on the balance, and we mostly used it to ride my dirt bike.
Mhm.
At the time, didn't do any improvements, didn't do anything to it. Rode the dirt bike on it, walked around, enjoyed the beautiful Nevada sunsets.
Yep.
That was about it.
So they made fun of you, but
Yeah.
you bought it. A lot of people were like, "Why are you buying this 120 acres down a dirt road
Yes,
for that much money?"
that's right. Yeah.
And I was new to this because on my side, my childhood was more of renting and moving, and so I didn't know the beauty of home ownership. So I wasn't sure what he was doing with a piece of land, but I totally was fine with it.
Yes.
So a year after purchasing that land, roughly,
Yes.
Jason comes home and says,
I've made a sign.
"I made a sign and we're going to sell this house or this land."
Yes.
And I said, "Oh, okay. That's what why are we doing that?" Cuz he thought we could sell it and he said because we had talked about building a home and stuff. So I was like, "Oh, okay. So we're not going to build there anymore." And it was kind of a transition for us.
Right.
And then he was making this sign and then he said, "We're going to sell it and you're going to sell it." And he put my number on the sign.
That's
And I
right.
was like, "Whoa, whoa, whoa, take a step back. What are you doing? I don't know how to sell land. And this is a horrible idea." And he said, "If you can sell this piece of land, you'll get commission." He was going to give me $500 of commission.
I'm sure I did.
And I thought, "Oh, $500, I will see what I can do." So we put the sign up. We did what we could. Some calls started coming in. Lo and behold, Miss Mary Thomas, for sale by owner, did sell the land. So you bought it for how much?
120,000.
And we sold it for.
240,000.
So that was a really great buy.
That was a good time.
That
Yes, that was a good year.
was an amazing year.
Right.
And I did get my commission. He followed through with that and much more. He just,
Yes.
yes, much more. So we sold that and then
um, we pretty much immediately purchased another piece of land to build another house.
Mhm,
Bench Road.
yep.
Yep. We right away bought another piece of property.
Okay.
Thought we'd use that to move forward to the next step.
Okay.
Yes.
And we sold the house, your first new build that you
Mhm.
had done
Mhm.
with the general contractor.
That's right.
We sold that. We waited till the new build was done. We lived in a rental at that time,
Mhm.
and we moved in there. And how much was that? What did that cost us? It was 10 acres. It was 3,200 square foot,
Right.
and it was an 1,800 square foot garage.
Yes. Um, that at that time that ran us right about 350,000.
Okay, so $350,000.
That's right.
We were able to go in there. We lived there for about
3 years or so.
3 years,
Mhm.
and life changed again.
Yes.
And I was like, wow, I'm starting to see a theme here. Every couple years, we seem to be moving.
Moving forward.
Moving forward,
That's
though,
right.
and every time our house got a little, there was something more about this that fit our lifestyle and what we were looking for.
Sure.
So each time it got a little bit better or more land or what we needed at that
Fit
time.
our needs more appropriately.
So this is where I want to kind of take a moment, and we have many more buys and sells during that time we lived there and then
Yes.
after, but I want today to really focus on this particular, his second build, which he used a general contractor to do as well. But
Yes.
again, he drew the original plan, he took it and had it gone to an engineer and made the blueprints, and we had done that stuff. Actually, it was,
That was our cousin, Josh.
yeah,
Yeah,
Josh.
he
Josh
handled
did
it.
that.
Yeah, he was he drew the plans when he was 16,
He was
17.
amazing. It
Yeah.
was super cool, and he
Yeah.
just sitting down and doing that and seeing him with that talent was super fun to watch.
Yes.
So I really want to just focus here, and maybe next time we can get you to come and talk about all the other stuff that you have done. But
Anytime.
today, let's focus on this one.
Okay.
Why I want to do this is because this is real. This is real with real estate.
Oh yes.
We lived there, and when we sold this house, this was your, and everything that we've done, this is the only one we purchased for how much?
We were in at about 350,
And we sold it for
335.
335. So not every single one was a profit, but was
No.
broke even. Some we made a huge profit on, and some, this one, we lost
$15,000.
$15,000. So why am I dwelling on us losing money?
Well, we did live there for 3 years. So,
So this is where I really want to just kind of dive into, if you're able to get your foot in the door to purchase a home, or if you're thinking about selling and need the guidance to make sure you make the right move that makes sense, because everything is about numbers. But we did lose $15,000 in our sale, or our purchase price and our sales price, but we lived there for 3 years.
right.
And a reminder, it was 3,200 square foot,
Brand new
1,800
home.
square foot garage on 10 acres. Yes, it
Right.
was way out in the country, but that home at that time, I believe, would have been renting for about that 16 to 1,800.
Sure.
Remember,
Easily.
you guys, this is early 2000s.
Right.
So really, if we dice it down like that, we still lived there. We had a very comfortable life, and we lost $15,000. We lived there for 3 years. So really, if we were considering rent,
Right.
what would our rent have been at that house?
That brand new house would have run us around $400 a month.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So still, even though when we purchased it and sold it, our number was not in the positive, it really made us, in the time that was kind of tricky. That's when
Yeah, that was about '09.
mhm,
A little
we moved in '06,
after the
7,
crash had
8.
fully taken effect.
Mhm.
Yeah, it wasn't a great time to be selling, but we were moving forward already on another project.
We were, but during that time that was
Yeah.
tough, and gas prices were rising, food
Yeah.
prices were rising.
Absolutely.
We were able to have and maintain a comfortable life because we owned a home,
Right.
and our payment did not change on that home.
Correct.
We were able to live there comfortably and make it through those hard times by owning a home. And that's really the point that I wanted to get at today, because that's real.
That's absolutely real. We were actually able to leverage that home to make our next step forward.
hmm Which was a great time, but won't get in that today. But um, the reason why I wanted to really focus on this and that loss is because sometimes when you buy a home and life changes, you have to move forward. And sometimes we're looking at how much do we buy it for and how much are we selling it for. But that's not the only thing to look at. Looking at um, having a security for your family, having when those times got tough, we were able to maintain a good lifestyle by living in that house because we did not have rent that went up on us, but everything else was going up on us. So, really owning that home was enabling us to continue with our life, which was enabling us to work on your first business.
That's right. And we actually had taken it off the market because the market was not positive at that time. And I wasn't exactly willing to swallow that loss. I couldn't stomach it.
hmm
But um,
So we moved into it for 3 years.
that's right. An offer came our way, and it enabled us to move forward and make the next steps we were working on at that time.
Mhm. So, mm, the point that I'm trying to get at today is that by owning and getting your foot in the door, interest rates on your first home were what?
About 7.5%.
Okay, 7.5%. Yes, purchase prices were a lot less then, but at that time, for what you were making,
Right.
and a 7.5%, if you didn't get your foot in the door, all these other steps wouldn't have been possible as quick or probably not at all.
Correct. It all started with the first step, and um, being in that situation that wasn't ideal. I had to have a roommate because my budget was not covering the nut of the house. But I like my space. I like my privacy. Had to have a garage. I couldn't have afforded to rent a place on my own anyway. So if I could buy and be the landlord in my own house, that's what I did.
Kind of a no-brainer.
Yeah.
Looking at your home and looking at rent, I just heard someone tell me, well, rent is no matter what, 100% interest. And I believe that is very true. And the point I'm getting across today is if you always rent, you never will be a homeowner. Never. And it will be 100% interest no matter what you do. And the opportunities that it's given us to upgrade our lifestyle would not have been possible without all these many steps that we've taken that definitely was work. Jason
Yes.
and would look at real estate every single day for the next opportunity to upgrade our lifestyle. No matter if times were good, bad, we were always investigating. You were always running numbers. And it
That's
really, until that point, you guys, I was like, I don't know what this dude is doing. And then I started to see the next step, the next step, the next step. And because when I was growing up, we just rented and I moved a whole lot. And we didn't have control over if the person wanted to sell the home, they were selling the home. If we lived there and the rent was going up, we didn't really have a choice. Rent was going up. So started to see about that time as well, owning a home had a little bit of control on your destiny. And then I saw every time you did it, we had something better or different that we were benefiting from by upgrading, by being patient, but by not going in more than we knew we could do
Right.
every single time. And you always made sure that we could hold it.
Absolutely. Yes, through all the ups and downs, we've held continuously, and that's important by not biting off more than we could chew.
And that's where I'm going to leave you guys today. If you are interested in getting into real estate and know that you can afford it, but are concerned about the interest rates are going to do whatever they're going to do. In the meantime, if you can get your foot in the door, only if you can afford it, is always going to give back to you. You might have to hold on to it longer than others, but it will always give back to you. And I'm going to leave you with this. Thank you for coming today.
I couldn't imagine anything better.
And if you always rent, you will never be a homeowner. So I hope you guys have a great day. If you have questions regarding real estate, reach out to me. I am licensed.
Thank you all for joining us today.
And if you have questions about selling and want to run numbers, if right now is a great time, you're still going to be in the positive. But even if you're just doing different things and know that your life is changing between now and 1 year, you do want somebody that understands the numbers, because interest rates are going to rise. And if you're going to have a payment, those interest rates matter for you completely on your next step and how that's going to benefit you and be better. So if you always rent, you will never be a homeowner. And thank you for joining us for Getting Real with Real Estate.
Always keeping it real.
Bye, everybody.
The recording has stopped.
That was great.